What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at DataDash, and today is November 6th of 2020. Well, folks, I hope you all are having a fantastic day wherever you are. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about all that's going on in cryptocurrency markets. If you haven't been paying attention, there's a lot going on here over the last week. Bitcoin last night tapped $16,000 and is currently trending over the $15,000 range at the moment. And outside of that as well, altcoins have been surging in response to the FOMO that's been coming into Bitcoin, whereas over the last few months, we started to see a divergence where altcoins have been fading out. We're now starting to see them return. So we're going to dive straight into it, guys. Let's just go ahead and take a quick look across the board for the market. Taking a look over the last 24 hours, we can already see very clearly here between Bitcoin and Ethereum, chasing anywhere between 5 to 10%. The market is in a state of absolute confidence. Taking a look over the last 24 hours, we can start to see a lot of the DeFi tokens coming back in full force. Uni up 40.66%. Aave up 38.48%, Synthetics Network 33.56%, Reserve Rights 30%, Solana up 29%, Yearn Finance 25%, Band Protocol 24%, and the list goes on and on. There's so many plays in the green now. If anything, the players in the red are the outliers here, many of which are stable coins here, as people are exiting liquidity and they're even paying a bit of a premium on the Bitcoin or cryptos that they're trading against those pairs. That's how much there's FOMO at the moment. Now, just take a look here in regards to the past weekly performance. Yet again, another green week here. This is far beyond what I think I had expected in this case, because we've been shooting here for a Q1 estimate of 2021 for a revisit of 20K. If this momentum keeps up, though, this could be coming much sooner. We could get it sometime probably in December. But again, we're going to still keep to our estimate here of Q1, as much as I am an optimistic person when it comes to this. Because I do understand there's probably some time where we're going to have cooldowns, or we might have to see liquidity circulate throughout the space. But I digress. Putting that aside, just taking a look here at the daily, guys, this is looking fantastic. Best day of volume here on Binance for the Tether pair for Bitcoin since all the way back here in July of 2020. We've got good volume surging in here, growing volume, and outside of that as well, a really good pattern here where price had continued to set in slightly higher relative highs and higher relative lows, and then we get the continuation here. Now, I will say this is looking a bit exhausted here in the short term. We're going to see what happens, but I will say that as we've started to top out here around 16K today, where Bitcoin has started to fade some of its price action here in the past few hours, we've started to see a lot of that circulate into the altcoin space. Just taking a look here at Ethereum finally starting to get a little bit of love here over the last few days, going from around $370 from the bottom here all the way up here to $440. A really nice rebound in ETH as an asset, as we've been still generally setting in higher lows and higher highs similar to Bitcoin. Taking a look at Bitcoin dominance, a huge recoup of a lot of the dominance that had been lost over the last day. We're going to see if we can completely engulf this candle. That would be a really solid thing to see, a bullish engulfing candle here, taking away all the losses from yesterday and starting to reverse this trend. That's what we're going to be watching for here in regards to altcoin markets. Along with that as well, just taking a look back at ETH, seeing if we can do the exact same thing here against Bitcoin. And it looks like we're doing that right now. This has been a really big rebound for ETH here in a single day, and I think that we're going to see a continuation. It's tending to be that, just like, for example, when we see these types of downward days, it's usually a sign of a reverse in the trend. We are likely going to see in this case, as we have a nice solid green candle here for Ethereum against Bitcoin, as well as some other altcoins against BTC. In this case, we're going to see a beginning of the next cycle for altcoins, which is really exciting. Again, we're going to be keeping an eye on this as we go forward. Taking a look here, link to Bitcoin here. As we can see, coming down to this major range here where we kind of started off the secondary portion of the cycle, which we've now come down to a close on. This is very common in most bull markets, where you get rid of the euphoric stage and come down more to the base trend here. And now that's basically what we're doing here, around 70,000 Satoshis. We found a bottom here, and it looks like we're starting to chart back upward. Wanted to talk a little bit about Ampleforth as well. This has been one that I've been holding for some time. Ampleforth has been continuing to climb here silently since back here on October 14th when it set a bottom. It has now more than doubled its market cap from its bottom and is continuing to climb and actually outpace Bitcoin. This has been one of the few that's actually been able to do so over the last month and a half. So I'm really, really excited to see how this continues to perform. Taking a look here as well, Uni, another DeFi play that we've talked about. I've been holding my Uni tokens. Uni making a rebound here back to $2.50 per token. The question here is about whether or not, just like a lot of these altcoins, we're going to start seeing those higher lows and higher highs. So we want to get price above here, set in a new low that's above this range here from back in early October, and also set in higher relative highs for our next point of resistance that's higher than the $3.60 range here back in October. So all in all, again, bouncing back to this, guys, keep an eye on altcoin dominance. This is the key thing, the key metric to watch. And overall, I just want to signal the most important message here above all. We're taking a look at all of these different altcoins. Folks, we are in the next crypto cycle. We're getting very, very close to getting ready for that next cycle. We're shaping up here to get towards the highest valuation range we've seen since back here in January. We already are at our highest point in market cap in January, far beyond the FOMO back in June of 2019, far beyond the rebound here in February, far beyond even some of these heights where we still had the ICO ages going on in crypto, where ICOs were still raising after Bitcoin was declining. The point here is simple. We are getting ready for not only the next Bitcoin cycle, where we're estimating at a minimum, a conservative 5x from the previous all-time highs, but along with that as well, we're expecting that the altcoin cycle is upon us here, where there's going to be a lot of extra risk-taking, where DeFi and enterprise blockchain as well as oracles are going to consume the narrative here, are going to be the major drivers for this cycle and value creation within crypto, and we are going to start to see this space really mature and create a lot of useful applications. DeFi, I think, has shaken out a lot of the bad actors. We're going to start to see a lot more maturity in the space, and it's going to become an essential part of the cryptocurrency market to drive a lot of value and utility that people never thought was possible beforehand. I'm very, very excited for it, guys. And if you're interested in getting some in-depth research, some coverage into some of the altcoins that I'm watching in the market, that I'm investing in, and you want to get my trade alerts as well, you're welcome to join us over at the Dash Report. This is a way where you guys can support the channel personally. We're trying to move away from doing too much advertisements on the channel, and I really want to just give you guys that extra report where I talk about crypto markets, equity markets, commodities, as well as Forex markets. I cover the whole shebang. So if that interests you, there's a link down below in the description. You can get a major discount by signing up for the annual newsletter. But again, if you want to give it a try, just try the monthly. It's not a problem. Now, I wanted to go ahead and talk about some big news here, guys, because this is really, I think there's really two things that are interesting to talk about today as the market's been surging here. So Square has just come out with its quarterly earnings report here, and I think that this is playing a part. It's not the only reason, but it's playing a part in this overall cycle. And that's showcasing the demand that's going on right now behind the scenes that I think people haven't really accounted for in regards to Bitcoin. So Square allows people to buy Bitcoin in this case. But the nice thing is that they actually have the Bitcoin in reserves, which is really nice. However, they don't allow users to, per se, move it out of the Square app. Square has reported over $1 billion in quarterly Bitcoin revenue for the first time in Q3 earnings. So in the last quarter, right, in this case, Square has been able, in Q3 of 2020, they've been able to bring in over $1 billion in purchases for Bitcoin from everyday users. Cash App generated $1.63 billion of Bitcoin revenue and $32 million of Bitcoin gross profit during the third quarter of 2020, up approximately 11 to 15x year over year. So this basically means that, broadly speaking, again, I think that what they're factoring for in this case when they do the total revenue here in the third quarter, again, anywhere from around 11 to 15x here. Broadly speaking, you're talking about not just doubling, not just tripling or quadrupling, multiplying the revenue by over 10x in this case, over 10 times the original revenue. I mean, this is absolutely phenomenal, guys. This is incredible. And I want to give hats off, again, I think above all, Jack Dorsey, if he's done one thing right, he's been ahead of the curve when it comes to Bitcoin. Again, I think that right now this is paying off big time for Square. It's a great place where on a payments app where it's difficult to make margins, in this case, $32 million of gross profit. It's awesome. And I really wish all the best to anyone who's promoting this early on in fintech apps. We're going to see who wins out in this case in the long run. But I think above all, this is really exciting to see that buying crypto is becoming one of the core features. PayPal had to follow suit with it as well because they realized it's a revenue model. And again, very excited to see this. I hope more than anything they'll allow people to actually own and maintain and move their cryptocurrencies. But one thing I wanted to talk about as well is this really big case here But the US government has actually gone about seizing $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. This is probably one of the biggest stories that you're going to start hearing more and more about. So the US recently seized over $1 billion of Bitcoin from the Silk Road. Now, this is something that we talked about just the other day. No one really knew exactly what this entailed. I don't think any of us really could have expected this. Basically, an address tied to the Silk Road in Ross Ulbricht had been moving over $950 million of Bitcoin at the time. Now it's over $1 billion. And a lot of people were curious. These Bitcoins hadn't moved for a long period of time, and now we finally saw them move. And it was due to the fact that due to a supposedly consented raid, I was reading the article, I don't really get what that means. I'm assuming the person knew that they were coming in and they had a warrant. But basically, the U.S. government, I'm assuming it's the Department of Justice, had come in and basically raided, had transferred the Bitcoins, and now basically they have control in this case of the keys of those cryptocurrencies. And the important thing to keep in mind is that just like how they have $1 billion of Bitcoin, they also got the equivalent, so it's not $1 billion, the equivalent Bitcoin for Bitcoin Cash, for Bitcoin Gold, for Bitcoin Satoshi's Vision. All of these cryptocurrencies, in this case, are now owned by the government here. Now, what they're going to be doing with this, I have no idea, but we'll have to see as time progresses. And I thought I would just share this story with you all. You guys are welcome if you want to actually read here the actual document released here that actually is coming from the attorneys of the United States of America, talking about the actual case here. And it's really, really fascinating, I think, overall. So it's something to keep an eye on. And it will be important to keep in mind with the supply and demand dynamics of Bitcoin, which is one of the things we've talked about in the Dash Report and here on the channel, is how to actually, spot these crazy cycles, guys. Above all, I want to keep it short, sweet, and to the point today, guys. We're living through really exciting times in the crypto market. The biggest point I can give to people is to get ready. Get yourselves ready for the moves here in the market. Get prepared. We're going through very exciting times. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing here to the channel. All right? Thank you guys so much for listening in. I appreciate it. As always, again, you can check out the Dash Report down below for more information. But that all being said, I hope you guys are having a fantastic day wherever you are. And I'll see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone.